Coming live from our studios in Belize City, this is the Evening News on Love Television for Tuesday, July 5th. We start off with a look at the stories making today's headlines. Athletes prepare for regional Codicadero Games. Belize's foreign minister updates international press on Belize-Guatemala dispute. IDB conducts training for non-governmental organizations. Additional charges for Paul Jex Jr. and man fined after admitting to committing mischievous act. And archaeologist speaks on importance of El Pilar Mayan site. The Central American Council of Sports and Recreation Games will begin tomorrow. Today, American sugar refiner ASR Group in Belize handed over a check for $12,300 to the National Sports Council to assist with preparing the athletes for the Games. Director of the National Sports Council, Richard Dominguez, said they are happy to receive the donation and would welcome more.
We have asked ASR to come on board with us in providing sweatsuit and uniform for Belizean teams. And we are glad today to say that ASR has fulfilled that part in doing the sweatsuits and the uniforms for the athletes of Belize. So Belize teams is ready. We have the sweatsuits that should be delivered this evening, and I can see that Belize teams has their uniform and everything ready to go.
Dominguez said the Belizean team is well prepared for the upcoming events. He said all the delegations have submitted their rosters.
We have not met exactly our total figure, but we are working on it, and we have some other partners that we are still waiting on them to come on board to give us what we have asked them for. We are almost there. It's we are falling short by a little bit, but we go ahead hoping that the companies that we have asked to come on board will come on board at the end of the day. Some of the teams have started sending different contingents of their teams to Belize. Yesterday we had one. At this time we have the delegates coming in who is the heads of mission. They are coming in. They should be in the city already. They are excited and the countries are ready to go.
Communication Government Affairs of ASR William Neal says the company has always contributed to sports, and this year, given the importance of the Games, the National Sports Council was the appropriate recipient of the funds.
Generally, ASR is one of the companies, especially in Orange Walk, that whenever there are any sporting events or any community events that is approached very often for funding, they have a committee that looks at where the monies will serve the communities best. And generally, because we work with farmers who are, in terms of a localized area, either from Orange Walk or Corozal, we look at maximizing that. This year, we looked at where it would have the most impact, and definitely contributing to this initiative, $12,000 plus was definitely something that we saw as worthwhile, given the fact that we do have sports being organized, but it's not with an international flair that would expose our young people to competitions and competitors from throughout the region. So we thought that this would be a worthwhile initiative to support.
The Games will begin tomorrow and will take place at various venues around the country up until July 12th. Belize's Foreign Minister Wilfred Elrington is heading a delegation to the 37th regular meeting of CARICOM Heads of Government, which is taking place in Georgetown, Guyana. While there, Minister Elrington was able to update journalists from the Miami Herald, Associated Press and the regional media on the Belize-Guatemala differences and also the de-risking challenges Belize faces. During the session, which began yesterday, Belize handed over the chairman's seat to the Dominican Prime Minister, Roosevelt Skerrit, who will serve as CARICOM's chairman for the remainder of this year. In his presentation yesterday at the Pegasus Hotel, Skerrit spoke of the organization's membership and the importance of addressing the Brexit issue and its impact on the Caribbean.
It is with a degree of conviction that we are on the right track and with optimism for the future that I assume chairmanship of the Caribbean Community, CARICOM. It is also at a time when the Conference of Heads of Government is being infused with new blood. In welcoming the Most Honorable Andrew Holness, Prime Minister of Jamaica, and the Honorable Alan Chastanet, Prime Minister of St. Lucia, to the conference, I note that in the last 2 years, 6 of our 15 members of this conference are new to the table. I also welcome Dr. the Honorable Keith Rowley, Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago, who, while not attending his first meeting of the conference, was elected after our meeting in July. This mix of experience and fresh perspectives in the leadership of our community could only be beneficial and will serve to rejuvenate our integration movement. I am not sure if it is by pure coincidence or divine intervention, but it so happens that I also take the chair of CARICOM at a time when the world is still in a state of shock at Britain's decision to leave the European Union after 43 years of membership. At a time when the rest of the world is moving towards regional integration in order to carve out an economic space in the global marketplace and to balance the might of the emerging superpowers, Britain has chosen to retreat to insular nationalism. Already the political, economic, and social fallout from this decision to go it alone is causing considerable concern within Britain, Europe, and the rest of the world. This conference gives us a wonderful opportunity to seriously consider the effect that Britain's exit from the European Union will have on CARICOM and to demonstrate real leadership by showing the way forward. After all, we have had a long and deep relationship with the United Kingdom, and Britain remains one of our most important trading partners, the largest source market for our primary industry, and a vital source of assistance on legal and financial matters.
Also speaking on the Brexit issue was Dr. Ralph Gonsalves of St. Vincent and the Grenadines.
And what we do, we often don't think for ourselves. In the United Kingdom, there is hysteria over Brexit. So we have embraced the hysteria. Rather than saying, this Brexit contains within it possibilities, opportunities, and we must look for them, rather than to bemoan what has happened. That is not going to get us anywhere. And I agree very much with Prime Minister Rowley that we have to accelerate our work in the single market and economy. And in the process, we have to remember that we cannot accelerate this process in a way where we remain unequally yoked.
Prime Minister Dean Barrow served as the CARICOM chair since January 2016. The government heads met in caucus today to discuss matters such as free movement and facilitation of travel within the community, citizenship by investment programs, correspondent banking, border issues including Belize-Guatemala relations, Guyana-Venezuela relations, as well as relations with the Dominican Republic and regional security. The conference will resume tomorrow in the plenary session and conclude late Wednesday with a press conference. A communique will be issued at the conclusion of the meetings. The Inter-American Development Bank IDB is collaborating with over 36 civil society organizations on a 3-day workshop. One of the goals of the workshop is to have the organizations create better plans and drafts for their proposals, as well as proper project management, project monitoring, and project evaluation. Cassandra Rogers, country representative for IDB Belize, spoke to Love News about the purpose of working with civil society.
The IDB, as you know, our focus is on improving lives of countries, of each of our 26 borrowing member countries, including Belize. We finance development projects, both through investment loans as well as technical assistance. And we, in order to do that very effectively, we consider developing partnerships with members, stakeholders in the country, whether it is at the national level, subnational level. And in this particular case, we are working with a key partner, civil society.
Rogers shared some of the issues being discussed by the facilitators.
The IDB. This training is part of a larger initiative that the bank is taking to strengthen capacity in civil societies in Latin America and the Caribbean. And we are very fortunate to have the training workshop being delivered in Belize. It is going to extend over the next 3 days. We have a facilitator, an outstanding facilitator from our country office in Suriname. And the primary objective of this workshop is really to strengthen the capacity of the civil society organizations in Belize in the area of project management, project monitoring, as well as project evaluation. The general idea is that with this training, and we are very proud to say that there are over 36 civil society organizations in the room, in the workshop at the moment. The general idea is that they would be equipped with the techniques and skills to be able to more effectively design project proposals as well as implement the projects once they are approved.
After the workshop, evaluations will be done by the civil society consultants who will provide feedback to the bank.
We have a civil society, a CONSOC, it's a civil society consulting group in Belize. And we use this mechanism to dialogue directly. So these are representatives of civil society in Belize. We use this group as a mechanism to provide feedback to the bank. So what we are hoping for at the end of this workshop, and we will have our next CONSOC meeting sometime in September, that we will get direct feedback from the CONSOC membership in terms of what they thought of this particular event and how we can move forward in continuing supporting civil society in Belize. This CONSOC in Belize has actually asked for this training, and so we were very excited to have the opportunity to actually deliver this training in Belize.
The workshop ends on Thursday. The El Pilar Archaeological Center site was discovered by Dr. Annabelle Ford in the early 1980s. The site, which sits in both Belize and Guatemala, is located roughly 7 miles west of Bullet Tree Village in the Cayo district. Since that time, Dr. Ford has worked extensively on the site. This past Sunday, a special ceremony was held to mark the 20th anniversary of the discovery of the site. The event was also considered a measure of peace building, since there were citizens from both Belize and Guatemala in attendance. Cynthia Ellis-Topsy spoke about the event.
Here you will experience archaeology under the canopy, and we are celebrating, having fun with people from all walks of life and from all over the world. We want you to enjoy 20 years, one cartoon, the first of its kind at El Pilar, where we are celebrating conservation of this awesome site of what our national anthem says, nature has blessed us with wealth untold. So at this point, we want to celebrate those that came before us, those who sacrificed their lives, Harriet Topsy, Godsman Ellis, and many of the forest gardeners who are no longer with us, who gave their time and their energy to identifying the plants and the resources that we are enjoying today. So we want to pass this on as a legacy to young people and children.
Archaeologist Dr. Annabel Ford spoke about the work she has done over the years at El Pilar and what she hopes yet to accomplish.
There's a dream that can happen here. All these monuments, people think I haven't done excavations, but all of these have had excavations. We can create a landscape here under the canopy that is really inviting, that's a living museum, that shows peace through archaeology, and I can only do it with a new community. And I look at you all here and say, this is my new community. Here are the friends of El Pilar, the friends of the Forest Garden. So let's go forward for the next Katun and celebrate a Katunab, which means more than one Katun in 20 years hence.
Executive Director of the Belize Tourism Industry Association, John Burgos, spoke about the importance of archaeological sites for tourism.
It gives us a good sense of accomplishment. We must be able to recognize and acknowledge how far the efforts have come. And with a sense of pride, we have to be able to look into the future as to what the El Pilar can become and can represent for the community in Cayo and Belize as a whole. The archaeological sites form a great part of what the tourism industry represents for Belize on a yearly basis. And if you compare it to the other sectors, you must know that it is growing, it's going to keep growing. And we have to be able to accept the reality that there's so much more work to be done, but in partnership with the public and the private sector, the NGOs, the community itself within these destinations.
The event had the participation of Guatemalan bands and peace runners from Belize. Justice of the Supreme Court, Judge Courtney Abell, was in attendance at Sunday's event. He said it could be viewed as a measure of peace building to resolve the Belize-Guatemala dispute.
We in Belize are experimenting and pioneering, if you like, trying to achieve the peaceful resolution of disputes directly and not through conflict in an adversarial way. And, you know, I think it has lessons, what we're trying to do in the court system, through the mediation system, with resolving disputes in many other contexts. These things always have to be done in a number of different ways. And I think we got to exhaust every possible opportunity to achieve peace myself. And I think peace must be uppermost in people's mind. Warmongering, in my view, is not the answer. Those who have been involved in wars and conflict know how devastating it is once you let that genie out of the bottle. You can't put it back in that easily, you know. So peace and peaceful resolution of disputes have always got to be uppermost, and every attempt made to resolve conflicts by peaceful means.
Judge Abell emphasized the need to depoliticize the territorial dispute and warned about the repercussions that an armed conflict could bring to the people.
I think some people are not always aware of the sensitivity, the volatility of certain situations, and that once serious conflict is ignited, it's so difficult to turn back. I very much agree with the views of some people who think that delicate issues, border issues such as we have with our neighbor in the south, is something that has to be handled delicately by people who are aware of the serious repercussions of it, you know, and politics has no real place in such matters. And I think the really wise people know that, that you should depoliticize a lot of that.
Judge Abell spoke of El Pilar as a place for learning and peace building.
what El Pilar represents is a prime example of the need to, to create peaceful spaces to develop learning. Well, one of the other speakers spoke about it, about the devastation to artifacts and thousands of years of history that's resulted from wars in the Middle East. I mean, things that have survived millennia went up in smoke overnight.
Judge Abel stated if more civilians would get involved in events for peace building, the dispute could be resolved in a more beneficial manner for both countries. Paul Jex Jr., who was remanded yesterday until today for additional charges, was charged with aggravated burglary and conspiracy to commit aggravated burglary when he appeared before Magistrate Emerita Anderson. Yesterday, Jex was charged with rape. He was remanded into custody until September 15. The charges stem from an incident at the home of Sarkis Bonera in Borrelboom village last year. 48-year-old Albert Genety, a phlebotomist charged with sexual assault, was sentenced to 3 years today by Magistrate LaDonna John after he was found guilty of the charge. The victim, a 27-year-old woman, testified that on January 23, 2015, she went to an NHI clinic to give a blood sample, and she met Genety, who convinced her not only to give the sample, but also give a vaginal swab. She said while Genety was taking the swab, he tried to abuse her. The manager of the clinic testified that as a phlebotomist, Genety's duty was to collect blood samples, receive specimen, validate the integrity of the sample, document proceedings, and issue results. He said that although Genety has the knowledge to do vaginal swabs, it was not his job. Genety gave a statement from the dock in which he said that the complainant came to the clinic with her daughter to give a blood sample, and her daughter did not want to give the blood sample, and she wanted to beat her daughter, and he told her not to do it. 33-year-old Alvin Myvitt, a watchman who gave a false report that he was held up at gunpoint, was fined $150 today by Senior Magistrate Sharon Fraser after he pled guilty to a mischievous act. He was given until August 15 to pay. If he defaults on payment, he will serve 1 month. Myvitt, who works at Bluefield Range Key, reported to police that on June 26, while he was at a fishing camp owned by Lloyd Brakeman, he was approached by 8 men, 2 of them armed with 9mm pistols. He said the gunmen pointed their firearms at him, then all 8 of them left. 8 days later, Myvitt went to the police station and said that the report was false. He said in court that he recanted his report because he did not want innocent people to get hurt. An international group is in southern Belize where they carried out a service of recognition for the top PSE performers. Paul Mahong has the story.
2 of the 10 top PSE students of Toledo were each presented laptop computers. The laptop computers were recently presented to San Pedro Colombia RC School 2 top primary school exam students, Jennifer Garcia and Marlene Tehul, by official representative of IFAI, International Foundation for Academic Innovation of USA, Margot Branscombe.
IFAI has had computers in some of the schools in the Belize-Toledo area for 10 years. And every time we have students who test into the top 10 in the PSE, we give a laptop to those students. Now, the schools are very specific. This is San Pedro Colombia, or Barranco, or Conejo, or Midway, Sundaywood, and a few others. But this year, we had 2 students at San Pedro Colombia that tested into the top 10. The first time the school has had 2 students. So we gave 2 laptops on Wednesday, June 22nd. In addition, this is the first time that it appears the entire testing group of 65 students passed the PSE. So we sent that entire group of 65 students and 9 parents and 5 teachers on a trip to the Belize Zoo and to Belize City on Friday, June 17th. We're very excited to be able to do this because we believe they did a lot of hard work. They did extra classes, they worked over Easter break, they did weekends, they did summer. The entire parent community made sure their children were ready to study, and they did their part, and we're very proud.
Margot Branscombe of IFAI, principal of San Pedro Colombia RC School Omar Requena, expressed gratitude to IFAI and Representative Margot Branscombe.
Good morning, Mr. Paul. It's indeed a great pleasure for me to air our successes, to give a great thanks to International Foundation for Academic Innovation of the USA, who have been working with San Pedro Colombia, the school and the community. We are so thankful that the foundation has been at our aid and very resourceful in our achievement. And we can speak for this year's academic achievement of our 2 top students, Jennifer Garcia and Marlene Teol, have done such a great job in their PSC. We are very thankful that the foundation were able to award these 2 top students who were participants of the district award here in Toledo 2 laptops, which will be very useful for them as they venture into their new chapter in their life, in their high school education. I also want to thank the foundation for giving the 65 students who passed PSC a wonderful educational trip to the Belize Zoo, to the Museum of Belize, House of Culture and Heritage. They did inculcated all this education experience throughout their 8 years upon visiting these sites of interest. We would really like to thank the community of San Pedro Colombia for their great support over the school year and making us once more a successful school year for this 2015-2016. Thank you.
Both Jennifer Garcia and Marlene Teol of San Pedro Colombia RC School commented that they were very appreciative of the laptop computers that will be very useful in their secondary school education studies beginning in the upcoming new school year. Reporting for Love News, Paul Mahon, Bonagoda.
Saw 3 senior cabinet ministers of Guatemala arrested on charges of corruption as authorities looked for 2 others. The ministers reportedly served under the former president, Otto Perez Molina, who has denied the charges of money laundering and conspiracy. Tonight, Love News understands that Guatemalan authorities may be looking to find the former Minister of Energy, Eric Archila, in Belize. International orders for Archila and 2 others were sought to capture the former government officials. According to the chief prosecutor, Telma Aldana, the former officials were part of a group that used about $4.3 million of the state's funds to buy gifts, houses, boats, and helicopters. According to an online article published by Conguate, Archila has been spotted on San Pedro and Burgess Key. Easter 2016 was one of the final performances carried out by 57-year-old Regis Flores, who went by the stage name Just Flores. Flores passed away on June 21st after falling ill in May. His contribution to Belize's industry was significant, with many who can recall him as a lead singer for the Babylon Warriors. Love News had the privilege of speaking with Just Flores some weeks before he passed. Here is how that interview went.
Well, I'm going to be singing. Okay, that's what I do best. At first, you can tell I'm losing my voice. So I'm trying to preserve it. I don't want to sing too much. And again, tonight, I'll be singing again tonight. I mean, I've been singing for the past 7 or 8 days, nonstop. You know, because, you know, people like my work, you know, and I just want Belize to know that they know me, you know. They don't know me in person. You don't listen to my voice for many, many years. Have you heard about this group they call Babylon Warriors? I'm the lead singer. I was the lead singer for Babylon Warriors. Okay, like, you know, in song like 2 Foot Cold, yeah, bro goes to come, make we punt at the night all night long, oh, gal, me back, they had me. All in tracks. Rain, now you broke my heart. We sing the tracks, my sister. Like I get the most popular one, all right? Chanta reina nugudi, Hagon reina yinda hadabura duna. Hage duna gurata gayo, Hagon gayo yinda hamildre. Hagon gayen gurala only, Hage only, yinda achuga kakariko lubala marido. Reina, you broke my heart. Oh, Reina, you broke my heart. The sea is long, the sea is long and also wide. There won't be no place to hide. Reina, come back, come back. The English version was written by Babylon Warriors. Okay, and I had a big part to play in it. I don't take the credit for it because I was a band at the time. Now I'm a solo artist. Okay, so I've got a lot of stuff that I've been doing as a solo artist. Okay, but we still on Babylon Warriors. Okay, and that, you know, in Garifuna, the lyrics were given to me by my grandmother. You know, so I mean, she said before I die, I would like for you to put these lyrics to recording, and that's what I did. But when I joined Babylon Warriors and they asked me if I can sing, I said, well, I didn't. I said, well, not really. But you know, we were kind of lacking for singers. So, well, they said, well, why don't you try it? And I tried it, and I've been singing ever since. This is like since 1989. Like Miami, been around a lot. New York, Chicago, Las Vegas. I live in Los Angeles for 32 years.
In celebration of his life and his talent in music, an open-air concert was held in Hopkins Village, as well as a jam night. The Babylon Warriors was formed in 1978. This evening, a fire broke out on a J&J bus that was loading passengers at the Belize City bus terminal. Information we received is that the bus was almost full and a wire under the caught fire and it caused the commotion. The wire under the bus caught fire and caused the commotion. Ana Gonzalez, a passenger who was in the bus at the time, tells us more.
The man said they catch fire, so everybody come out. He never tell nobody, like, everybody come out the bus to catch fire. So everybody started to come out through the back door, and everybody started to scream through the back door because we made a second seat, so we get to come out first. So after that, we just hear the people when they come out through the back door, they scream and scream. So everybody get to come out, and the man out the fire women at the bottom with water because the fire extinguisher never have nothing in it. So he out it with water, he hurried me the full water for the pipe and he threw the bottom of the bus because the bottom of the bus to catch fire. It was scary because my two kids were in there and my husband. So they have to check the bus now every time before they go and have like fire extinguisher were good because if any fire then go out it out fast. Because like this in this situation, the man never said nothing to the people too. He just said they think they catch fire in Spanish, so the people who are at the front know Spanish, so everybody start to come out. Yeah, but then like this, the way I say he should tell the people to come out. But he never said nothing to the people, he just said the bus to catch fire, the people start to come out.
No one was injured in the commotion and mechanics were on site restoring public transport as passengers waited. The San Ignacio Hospital received a donation from Pine Lumber Company Limited. The donation consisted of swings, picnic tables, and a garbage bin. Administrators say the contribution is important since it allows the hospital to have fewer children in the hallways, which can prove disruptive at times. Nursing Administrator Sylvia Alvarez spoke about the hospital's appreciation.
It feels wonderful. It will help a lot because it's a government hospital and you know there's some waiting time. Normally you'd have children running around in the corridors, opening the doctor's doors and so forth. With the place at the picnic table, they'll be able to play while the mothers are being attended to. But under supervision, of course, we'll try to have an attendant or one of the domestic staff supervise and look after them. We always appreciate stuff for the patients, for mothers. Miss Dana helps a lot with that, bringing care packages for the mothers. Pillows, you'll be surprised how many pillows we have lost or went missing. So pillows, blankets, clothing for baby clothing. Those are what we would appreciate. We have also received some mattresses through Miss Dana again, and that was well appreciated. Some of the donations, all beds have new mattresses now.
Vilma Vallo, sales manager at Pine Lumber, spoke about why they made the donation.
What was asked for was a swing set and if we could give a picnic table, and we went ahead and give a swing set, a picnic table and a garbage drum, because in most of the areas we would see the need of the garbage drum. With the swing set, we're looking at a cost in total about $1,450. Pine Lumber decided to go ahead and give the donation, one, because we see the need for it. Two, there are kids that in the hospitals, parents go to see family members on visiting hours, and then kids are not allowed in certain parts. And where do the kids stay? They stay outside, and kids are very unstable. They don't stay put. They want to go somewhere, do something, or they'll get tired eventually, so they can come and play.
Donna Emmons of Emmons Missions to Belize was an advocate in the process.
I asked the hospital, Mrs. Desiree Mejia, what the hospital could use, how we could help them. And they explained the mattresses, which we were able to obtain, and then they said a playground and a picnic table is desperately needed for the children. We had worked with Pine Lumber Company on several occasions for different projects where we purchased lumber from them. I loved their lumber very well, so I contacted them in January, and we started the process of the letter of requirements and why we needed the picnic table and swing set.
With Belizeans having business and family members over in the United Kingdom, the recent announcement of a direct flight to the UK by American Airlines is a welcoming initiative. According to an online publication, the direct flights will begin in November 2016 and will not warrant overnight connections in the United States or Mexico. The online document reads, and we quote, "Launching on 4th November 2016, in conjunction with the start of Belize's high visitor season, new outbound flights will operate 4 days a week on Friday, Saturday, Sunday and Monday, while new inbound flights will operate daily. Both will fly all year round. American Airlines will introduce new afternoon outbound flights departing from London Heathrow with a few hours connection in Miami onto Belize City, as well as new morning and midday inbound flights, again connecting for just a few hours in Miami. These new flight times will complement American Airlines' existing services, which fly daily via Miami, Dallas, Fort Worth, Charlotte, and Los Angeles. The Belize Tourism Board welcomes those more direct flights, which will make Belize more accessible to a growing UK market. In 2015, Belize saw 12,650 UK visitors, an 11.4% increase on visitor numbers from 2014, and expects to see this figure increase following the introduction of these additional flights. It is interesting to see if this flight addition will prove viable enough to last, since just last year, United Airlines had introduced its direct flight to Chicago weekly and was forced to make the direct flight seasonal. This weekend, Belize Diesel took out their new edition Toyota Hilux Draca 2016 to test drive in the rough terrain of Belize. Operations Manager Ryan Marin spoke about what the new edition is about. Test driving the new Draca 2016 was well-known attorney Andrew Marshalik, who gave his comments.
This is the Dakar edition that Toyota famously participates in and always comes out on top. So we wanted to commemorate that edition by creating a vehicle that stands out, that looks the part, and as you can see, this is modeled off of one of the rally cars. So we have the aggressive wheels, we have the wrap, everything looks the part, but underneath it all is a regular Toyota Hilux, you know, a very capable truck right off the factory line, and that's what we're here to prove today. This is for somebody who's adventure seeker. We have very aggressive tires that will, you know, surpass anything that can get thrown to them. The vehicle itself has a long-standing tradition of being a very capable truck, whether it be work on a logging road or, you know, getting you to work safely. This is the truck and the top truck in Belize. Inside has a nice big display for the stereo, reverse camera, automatic transmission, electronic four-wheel drive. And new for this year is a locking differential. So in the event that you may get stuck in any mud or you know, you have the differential lock to engage and you can get yourself out without any help.
It has all the conveniences of a car, while it has the capacity of a truck, which is good.
I invite anybody who's interested in a new pickup truck to come out and test drive the new Hilux, and we'll show you why Toyota cannot be beat. You can visit our website at BelizeDiesel.com, or we have a Facebook page at Belize Diesel, and they can send us a message, they can give us a call, send us an email, and we'll set something up for them.
Belize Diesel is holding test drives for the new Draca 2016 every weekend, and they're open to anyone who wants to try it. Some weeks ago, we brought you the story on the advocacy work being done on behalf of women who would like to have prostitution be looked upon and embraced as an accepted form of employment. We told you of the organization Tikkun Olam and their work being done with funding from an agency in Latin America. As a follow-up to that, we brought you an interview with the mayor of Orange Walk Town, Kevin Bernard, who spoke of his council's efforts in eradicating the bars that they believe condone the sex work profession. Tonight, as another follow-up, we bring you further comments on the issue. Attorney Dolores Balderrama spoke to us on the legal aspect of prostitution.
Let me say this. Per se, I don't know of any law that says prostitution itself is illegal. What is illegal is the pandering, running a house of ill repute. Those are the kinds of things that are illegal on the books. But of course, that is assuming a moral code. That prostitution not correct, you see? So let me say, it's not something that you can wipe out entirely, but the message has to be sent that society will frown on this, and not only frown on it, but in relation to minors, in relation to anybody under 18, we're going to take a dim view.
As for the views from persons in the public, we are yet to interview anyone who is willing to embrace prostitution as a legal profession.
I stand here and say that I am in support of any organization that would be supporting sex workers as such. However, from the point of view of fighting HIV and AIDS, a certain empowerment for women, I would respect the right to exist, but I wouldn't say that it is something that should be widely accepted in society. But again, I don't want to bring my moral beliefs into it. I'm just basically saying that the more empowerment that you can give, the better. Let me refer for a moment to the issue of men who have sex with men. Whether I agree with it or not, if it occurs, and if the population of men who have sex with men in Belize has a 14% rate of HIV prevalence, that is abominable. It tells you that something is seriously wrong with the national response. And we have to be outraged about that. Not because of what we might think about homosexuality. It is because it is a vulnerable population that has basic human rights just like everybody. And we need to be the ones to respond without making that kind of moral judgment. That would be my opinion.
As it relates to the group that is actually trying to legalize prostitution and to make it a part of the economy, COLA has not sat down to look at this issue, but right at the forefront there are some moral issues that are there, and but I think that it will be a good discussion because it's something that happens quite openly in our Belizean society, whether at the bar, the different bars, and even behind, not even there are people who are willing to give sex in exchange for money, and I think that the country will have to look at all these issues, whether it's the LGBT issue, these issue of prostitution, and to see what kind of moral society we're creating, and we want to develop. And so I think that we cannot say, I don't have the authority to say what COLA position is, but there are definitely some front-burning immediate issues that come to mind, and we will have to look at, it's one thing to tell your kid, whether a boy or a girl, to be an attorney, a fireman, a policeman, but how do you raise a child and say, you know what, you can sell your body? I mean, right off, but I know to find out they're actually getting funding for such activity, it raised an alarm as to where we are as a society, but I think it speaks to a wider subject of morality.
I haven't been really keying in on that issue. First time I'm hearing it from you, and so I don't know that I'll be able to correctly or informally make a comment on that.
All of these things are coming up into society right now, but as I mentioned, that we need to be able to cope. We need to be able to have a policy to these things. Personally, I do not, in the capacity as a principal or personally as a religious individual, I believe that there no need to be of that. Even the good lads say that when a man find a woman or find a wife, they get married and they live together. I don't think there's no need to be of that. And I think we in this country are not ready for anything like that. We are not ready.
Attorney Balderramos Garcia says the issue of prostitution has been a part of the discussion for years now.
Yeah, in the very first Anti-Trafficking in Persons Committee, we were calling for what you call a paradigm shift. Instead of the women in the bars in Orange Walk being considered illegal immigrants and you book them under the labor laws that they're not going to work permit, you look more at a situation of what are their circumstances. Can we find that there is trafficking in persons here? Can we find that there is exploitation? Can we find that there is prostitution? And if you find that there is prostitution and exploitation, because the definition of exploitation is so wide in the anti-trafficking in persons legislation, if you can find those things, then you must look at that aspect of it as opposed to send back the Spanish woman and then they come contact with man, and then the man, they go and then they go to prostitute and they come back and they give you disease, that kind of thing, you know? So let's talk about it plainly, but let's also send the message that yes, the laws are on the books, but we have to be the ones to implement.
Our thought conditioner for today is from Tamila Sorda. It reads, and we quote, "The difference between the impossible and the possible lies in a person's determination." This has been the Evening News on Love Television. We invite you to log on to our website at www.lovefm.com for transcripts of our news stories. Thank you for watching. I am Ernesto Vasquez.